Hi, and thank you for watching TargetedWest.com. DJ Chris is the host. We're a peaceful work group that gets together to discuss the fourth industrial revolution. We also have a TI book club where we have people authors that write books that are of our interest to us. One of those people, of course, tonight is Cathy O'Brien. This is show number 196. Cathy O'Brien was with us back in 2023 to discuss her book PTSD Healing, and now she's here to talk about her new book reSOULutions and Align with the Divine. So without further ado, of course today's the 18th of January 2026, and I'm DJ Chris again, and I'm in my trusty camper. Hello, Cathy O'Brien, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we had you on before, and that was a very popular show. I'm really glad you're here to talk about your new books. You have more than one book. It's part of a trilogy, which builds on the book that we talked about before, the PTSD healing book. So tell me a little bit about the reSOULutions book. I read most of it, and I thought it was great. A lot of poems that go way back in your history, including about HARP, and I like the marijuana one. I thought that was really cute. All those poems, and I could see the pain you were going through at one point, and it really moved me. It really was quite interesting, and I'm still going to finish it. Tell us more about it.
Well, yeah, it was part of my healing process. Since we talked last, I've been traveling all around the country, talking with the numerous survivors that are coming out. There's so many MK Ultra survivors. There's so many targeted individuals. There's people who've endured all kinds of trauma, and they're wanting to heal. They're wanting to reclaim their peace and their birthright to free thought, free will, soul expression, So having healed over 35 years ago from my MK Ultra mind control experience where I was used on a White House Pentagon level, I'm very fortunate that intelligence insider Mark Phillips, who is working the highest levels of intelligence mind sciences to preserve the sanctity of free thought, reached into that Washington, D.C. human trafficking swamp and lifted my daughter Kelly and me right out of it. He handed me keys to my own mind. While Mark was working mind sciences, he was appalled to see how mind control was being used on the whole population, how blackmail ops were being used to compromise people in positions of power and influence. He was disgusted to see little children being taken in and out of the White House, and he wanted to do something about it. But one of the things that had angered Mark the most was he found our birthright information to healing buried under national security. When we imported the Nazi and fascist scientists into the U.S., in the wake of World War II, with them came the formula for mind control. As soon as that formula was brought in and put to use, the CIA was formed to make sure it went into action. And that same year, 1947, the National Security Act went into place in order to suppress information and make sure that people did not have knowledge that is our defense against mind control. So it's a very deliberate scenario in order to create a compliant society, ultimately to align us with artificial intelligence, dumb us down, and make us forget, that we have these brilliant minds, we have perfect brains, we have resiliency of body, mind, and spirit, we have a defense against mind control, we have a capacity to heal, we have a capacity to raise our vibration against other technological or any kind of intrusion intended to lower our vibration. We have all of that within us, but we forgot. After so many generations of our own birthright information on mind-brain function being buried under national security, people forgot. It made them more vulnerable. It made them more easily led. It kept everybody looking outside themselves to big government, big pharma, big tech, big cult religion to tell them how to live their lives. When in fact, we've had all the answers within us all along. We just need to remember to go within and access those healing capabilities. And I know that's what we talked about last time quite extensively in regards to PTSD time to heal.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, those were the healing methods that Mark taught me. That was the ones that he found buried under national security and reminded me that it's within me to heal. Because I healed from within myself, I open the neuron pathways in my brain. Mind control intends to shut them down. Technological harassments are intended to shut those neuron pathways in our brain down. The violation of our food, the genetic alteration and bioengineering of our food is deliberately done to dumb us down, starve our brains of the nutrients it needs. The chemicals in our water intended to dumb us down. Everything these control puppet masters are imposing on us is to shut neuron pathways down. We need them open. We need to have our brilliant minds firing. Because I healed from within myself, I opened those neuron pathways. Because I did, I couldn't be triggered anymore. I couldn't be affected even by vibrational frequencies because I could keep my own frequency high. So healing from within is pertinent.
It is. And one of the things I like to mention, your books are very organic and they're a breath of fresh air, in regards to AI now, making books and articles and magazines and such. And it's just so organic. I love it. And the cover art, everything was perfect.
Yeah, my daughter did the cover art. I'm so proud of her for that. She's an amazing example of the resiliency of the strength of the human spirit and the resiliency of body, mind, and spirit, ultimately. So, people wonder, well, how could my testimony be the same for 35 years? How could I not be triggered back in? How have I been able to reclaim my inner peace and my joy? Well, this information on healing I've been sharing all across the nation, and people just always wonder, how can you smile after everything you've been through, all the torturous MK Ultra mind control? And it's because I know the truth of our being. I know my own truth. I know my purpose. I live the love I am every day. I choose to live true to soul. I choose to live aligned with the divine. And it's such a celebration. I live in a constant state of gratitude that we have been blessed with such resiliency. So that's the information that I'm wanting to share with everyone now. It's more than just writing out our past. It's more than just dealing with that. We've got to learn to cope with the reality of it all. Learn to forgive ourselves, for what we did under mind control and what we witnessed and experienced. That's a hard thing to do until we understand the absolute strength that mind control has, and until we understand that we can overcome it. So it's a matter of being able to stay true to soul, aligned with the divine, and have a rudder that helps me navigate through where I can't be triggered anymore. If somebody attempts it, I counter it. I don't allow it to trigger me. I don't allow it to have an effect on me. And sometimes it takes consciously raising my own vibration. And my new book, Align with the Divine, is a reminder to everybody how to do that, because really everybody needs it these days.
Oh, they do, especially with the turmoil in the world going on right now. We definitely need it.
Absolutely. reSOULutions is the healing method Mark taught me from the very beginning. Being triggered does not have to be a bad thing. It gives us insight into our own subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind drives our thoughts and ultimately our actions. So we need to understand it, because these mind manipulators know how to manipulate our subconscious mind by distracting our conscious mind with trauma after trauma after trauma. Repetition is the most basic form of mind control. Anything that is distracting our conscious mind leaves our subconscious mind wide open to being easily led and manipulated. So once we learn how to trigger and access our own subconscious mind, we gain control over it. And it's an important part of our mind-brain function. Mark taught me to make collages. He told me to, this was back in 1988, 1989, and he brought me a handful of magazines and newspapers. He told me to go through them and flip out anything that catches my attention, gives me cause to pause, triggers me. So I started clipping, and he said, just, collect them up in a box, and I accumulated all of them. And he said, now how you assemble them is very important, because it's like pulling together pieces of your own mind. It's gaining insight into your brain. So I put those collages together. Now those collages are included in reSOULutions to show people.
I saw them. They're beautiful.
They're very revealing. It's some amazing information that is right there in front of us all the time. I mean, that I could clip some of those captions, is phenomenal. But nevertheless, those collages are there to show people that triggers do not have to be a bad thing. And when other survivors see it, those triggers might trigger their triggers. So I just suggest keep a pen and paper nearby. Write down what the trigger is and what memory it triggers, and it will give you access to your own mind. So it's a real good thing in that regard, and it teaches us that triggers don't have to be these dominating forces in our life. It's something that we can take full control of once we consciously understand them. So that's why the collages are in reSOULutions. And aside from that, it's made up of poetry, like you said. I didn't, once I remembered, I still had to deal with the reality of what I had been through. And so I vented through poetry. Some of it is angry. Some of it is reversing what was done. And some of it's written with like double and triple meaning. The language of the subconscious, it reveals how our minds get manipulated, what NLP is, how literal our subconscious mind really is. So I used the wordplay that was used on me, and I reversed it back at them. And like I've got a poem in there for George Bush Jr. using all his codes, keys, and triggers, as if I could say them to him or show them to him, that it might trigger him into remembering, So I've got some very revealing things in there, and also how I learned to cope with things like the vibrational frequency of HAARP, venting about it, and making sure that I could keep my own vibration high and not have it lowered by an outside frequency. So there's a lot of information in there. It's like the more you know, the more you see.
I read in between the lines in a couple poems. Yep, I did. And it was food for thought, for sure. Now, everybody, please take a moment out to go to the chat room and click on the link to purchase Cathy O'Brien's book. Thank you. Sorry, Cathy, go on.
That's great. Thank you very much. I'm so eager to share this information because it's proving so very helpful to survivors, especially aligned with the divine, because when people endure trauma, satanic ritual abuse, anytime our conscious mind free thought is disrupted, even if it's through frequency, we have the ability to align with the divine within, because our brains get blasted into other parts, primitive parts of our brain, to compensate for our lack of conscious thought. So we have heightened intuition. We have extra sense of vibrational frequency. You know how, like, dogs can sense who's good and who's bad? We can too. You know, we get those senses. We can exercise those. We have heightened telepathy, telepathic capability with animals and with each other. We have psychic intuitions. We have remote viewing capabilities. There's just so much more that our brains are capable of when we align with the divine within. Go to that strength of spirit. Go within to that place of peace and joy and love, and live the love we are. When we're in that space, we're able to choose to access those amazing aspects of our brain and use them to our benefit. A lot of survivors were studied by the CIA, and it was used against them. It was used in a negative light. It doesn't make our brains negative. It doesn't make the capability negative. It means that outside influences, if low vibration perpetrators can manipulate our brilliant minds from the outside to that extent, imagine what we can do from within ourselves by using our strength of spirit and the infinite power of love to drive it, because we have unlimited capability when we do that, and we can extend that into using mind over matter for amazing physical healing capabilities and everything else. So there's a lot we need to learn about our own brains, and there's just, if other people used it for negative, we can use it for positive. We can use it for good, because our brains have been made perfect. We have been made perfect. We're absolutely brilliant. We're capable of more than we know, and we're smarter than we think.
Yeah, and the brain is capable of learning so many new things. We only, like you said, use 10% of our brain.
Yeah, I know. And then we're dumbed down even further than that. So, you know, as we're reclaiming our brain capacity, you know, we can go within and access these other capabilities that we have, because in the case of someone who's been tortured like I was, to be able to use those capabilities in everyday life helps calm the overactive adrenal system, because oftentimes people who've been, you know, horribly traumatized and tortured, and like even military veterans become shell-shocked, what they call it, you know, and jumpy. And we can calm all that back down and take back our own inner peace by accessing these other aspects of our brain that allow us to keep ourselves safe, secure, and it's our defense against mind control going forward. It's our defense against mind manipulation of any kind going forward.
It is. I heard through my friend Midge Mathis that you and Roseanne went to see, you know, the topic, but so this will end in the next 2 years?
You went out. I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said. It cut out.
Oh, no worries. I was just wondering, did you get to meet with Donald Trump in Mar A Lago recently to discuss this?
Yes, I did. It was an absolute pleasure to meet him, having experienced presidents in the past who were just, self-appointed, self-anointed leaders that steal elections. And it was good to meet Donald Trump, who was just genuinely concerned for we the people and wanting to give people their power back. So, it was amazing. The ones that I had met in the Washington, D.C. swamp before, they're such low vibration, dark, negative energy force. They are not like us, and they do not like us. I don't care what we call them, but they're not like us at all. But Trump is. He's just very soulful, warm, compassionate, kind, and extremely intelligent.
Well, he's a billionaire and he's a president, so yeah, of course. Well, that's good that you were able to spread the word, and maybe his people could read your books too and help them and spread the word, because that's when you get to the present, that's the top. The presidents you've been around before were not as great, and some of them were quite dirty. So this is quite a breath of fresh air to hear.
Yeah, it was for me. I was especially happy too to meet Tom Homan, who is who was the ICE director and is the border czar now. But Tom Homan is genuinely concerned for the trafficking of children. He's adamantly opposes MK Ultra mind control, and he's horrified at the drug and human trafficking funding mechanism of this globalist agenda that is hell bent on aligning us with artificial intelligence. So there's good people in positions of power and influence, and it's so good for me to have seen that, that there's genuine change being made. But, the survivors can't wait for this corrupt system to clean up. It's been corrupt a long time. It's going to take a long time to clean it up. So it's up to us, to reach out to each other with information and with truth. It's up to us to govern ourselves and take self-responsibility. Be the change. Literally, it's up to us to be that. President Trump told us he gave us our power back, and people didn't know what that meant. It means that obstacles have been removed from our path. We can go out in our communities. We can effectively help our children. We can walk into the school system and stop the indoctrination and the sexualization of our children going on. We have voice now. We have all the power. We need to just, get out in our communities, talk to each other, eye to eye, heart to heart, soul to soul, and realize that local impact does have national impact. And ultimately, that national impact is going to have global impact. And it's not about government. It's about us. It's about humanity. It's about humanity taking back their freedom to live life's purpose and to live peacefully and live love and be able to use our brains, and think free. So we've got that opportunity in front of us. So no matter what government does or doesn't do, it's up to us. It's up to us going forward, and we need to evolve with the knowledge that's our defense against mind control, evolve with the capacity to live our own lives, to take responsibility for our own actions, to restore justice in our own communities, because we're sure not seeing it on a national level or a global level. It's up to us to reestablish that moral compass. Align with the divine helps show people that path back to life as it was intended to be lived before we became so shallow and snap judgmental and misled so many directions.
Yeah, I catch myself doing that, being judgmental, and I have to raise my vibration all the time, because there's so many low vibrating things going on around me all the time. So it's really quite a job. It's a job, but it pays off like a paycheck.
Yeah, it's definitely worth doing. It's important to, shut off our devices and shut off the noise and get outside, breathe in the air, listen to nature, pull off our shoes, feel the earth beneath our feet, feel the sun on our skin, actually listen to the sounds of nature. It's real important for us to be able to rebalance that way. And it helps us to keep clarity of thinking and discernment of truth because, man, we are living in a kaleidoscope of change right now. And, you watch the news one day and it's one horror and the next day it's a completely different one. And then everything changes 100% from that, and it's a constant kaleidoscope of change that's impossible to keep up with. So it's really important that we choose what we put into our minds and that above all, that we reclaim our free thought, free will, our soul expression, our ability to align with the divine and gather the strength of the human spirit, the infinite power of love, because it's on that level that we all unite. It's on that level that we're able to be effective in being the necessary change that has to happen in our world.
Mm-hmm. I think people will get that message, and it's nice to hear it from you because the TI community needs that. And we're always happy to have you give us advice and tell us what works. And the spiritual part of it's so important because people get so technical. And I'm a retired tech worker, and I don't want to talk about technical things. I want to talk about spiritual things. So.
Yeah. It's not that technology has to be bad. It's just we got to have a balance in our lives and not allow it to rule or to allow anything outside of us to rule. We need to go within, remember who we are and why we're here, and live our life's purpose because there are so many miracles unfolding in life every day. There's so much majesty in nature. There's so many beautiful things and synchronicities to embrace. It's not all just survival mode in this world of change.
Mm-hmm. I know you feel like you're surviving right now. It's kind of a terrible thing. There's so many problems for people who are low income. There's so much homelessness. I still can't understand. I hope Trump is able to fix that because the homelessness situation is so terrible. People without housing because all of the bankers and holding companies have taken all the real estate and rented them out at a high rate. So it's either got to equalize or something's got to change. And especially here in California, the price of everything is just outrageous. So it is like survival, and you have to remember there's basics in life that you need, but if you don't have God and spirituality, you don't have anything, and that's what gets me through everything when I'm hungry or whatever.
Yeah, having been around these perpetrators in the swamp, they feed off of low vibration. They feed off of fear and negativity and division and hatred. They feed off of trauma. It's their vibration, and they want to keep us at their vibrational frequency. Their greatest fear is the strength of the human spirit and the infinite power of love because it's such a high vibration. They can't touch it. They can't control it. They can't control us that way, So they can't reach that high vibration with their low vibration. That would be like darkness creeping in on light. It doesn't work that way. Light exposes what's going on in the dark. And if we shine bright enough, we'll dissipate the dark once and for all. So it's like they're so scared of the strength of the human spirit that they use mind control, they use technological frequencies, anything they can to dumb us down and keep our vibration lower at the frequency they can feed off. That's where they want us. That's where they can control us. That's where they can manipulate us. So components of mind control include sleep, food, and water deprivation. So if we're working 9 to 5, 5 to 9, put food on the table that has no nutritional value, it's exhausting our brains. Our brains aren't firing properly, and it makes us compliant, and it makes us easily led, and it keeps our vibration low. So, that's why I think the housing is such a bad situation, and why our finances are always such a struggle just to put that food on the table. But we need nutrition in that food, It's been going on a long, long time that brought us to this point, and the best way to get out of it is to raise our vibration. Because when we do, we're out of their range. It's like people ask me and say, well, you've exposed the Bushes, the Clintons, and everything else. Aren't you afraid? I think, no, they got that fear from me the first 30 years of my life under MK Ultra mind control, and they're not going to get any more of that from me. I'm not going to feed their low vibration anymore. I'm going to live the love I am. I'm going to keep my vibration high, and I'm going to stay out of reach. That's the way I see it, and it has worked for me so far. So good. Here I am, and sharing the information to encourage others to keep their vibration high, because it's so easy to get bogged down, especially when we are hungry, especially when we are struggling to make ends meet. But it's a balance, and it's one that we can all reclaim when we go within and, reclaim our ability to align with the divine. Align with the divine is a very thin book, a short book of little stories that are reminders, so that people can remember easily those aspects of life. It's like PTSD Time to Heal is just a small little workbook. And it's not about me. It's about us all. It's a reminder that it's within us to heal. It's a reminder that we have resiliency of body, mind, and spirit. It's a reminder, along with Align with the Divine and reSOULutions, they're reminders that we have the victory. We already won. We've got the victory within us. We just need to go within and claim it, because we've been let outside ourselves for so long, we forgot we even have that victory in us. So, it's a joy to rediscover it and gravitate to it, keep our vibration high, and start making the positive, necessary changes that we need to, not only for our sake, but for the children's sake and the sake of future generations.
I agree. Yeah, it's going to change. I know it will, for sure. We're talking to Cathy O'Brien. This is DJ Chris. It's now 6:30 p.m. Are you almost ready to talk to people about your books and if they have questions?
Oh, absolutely. I love answering questions and hearing what people have to say and ask.
Okay. Well, if you want to ask Cathy O'Brien a question, go ahead and hit *6, and we'll take you one at a time. Hit *6 now, just like on James' call, and we'll hook you up live with Cathy O'Brien. So this is incredible. Yeah, I really love the book. We've got a person in Colorado who wants to talk to you. It's Laura. Hello, Laura. How are you? I guess she's not coming in. Next question in line. You're on with Eileen. You're on with Cathy O'Brien. Come on in.
Hi, Cathy. This is Eileen. I wanted to know more about your conversation with President Trump. What did you talk about? Did you get any inklings from him on his thoughts about the targeting community?
There's a good bit of information on President Trump that goes back a ways. I had also met him at Club 47, which is in West Palm. It's where a lot of his family and his neighbors and everybody gather, and they talk there too. So the soulfulness is absolutely beautiful, and his awareness of the needs of the people is absolute, and it's what people would hope for. What can actually be accomplished, we're waiting and seeing. There's so much corruption to have to clean up and get through. But
so are you confident that he knows? Are you confident that he knows about what we go through?
Absolutely, no question about it. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know. Does he know?
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for your question, Eileen. Let's see who's next in line here. We'll click that off, and we'll go to restricted. Come on in. Hello, you're on with Cathy O'Brien.
Thank you, DJ Chris, and thank you so much, Cathy. I was feeling healing just listening to you, just healing from the positivity. I have about two questions. One, I'm going to get your book, but do you do anything specific to combat the trauma experiences? Is it just, that's one question.
Well, the main thing is to write out the trauma, using a pen, because the act of moving a pen uses the logic critical analysis part of the brain. So it takes that trauma, that emotionally incomprehensible trauma, and shifts it over to logic, where it's written out on paper and consciously seen, and it allows you to deal with it. It allows for healing psychiatrically, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, everything all at once with that one simple little brain trick, of moving a pen. So I encourage everyone to, write out their trauma, write out their fear, write out their guilt, write out anything that's immobilizing them, write out their grief, all of it. Just, write that out, and then add a solution. If you add a solution, and I spell it SOUL, if you add a solution, it lifts you out of that dark pit of negativity and forces your brain to fire in new ways again. So it lifts you above the storm, so to speak, so you get a clear view forward. It's real important to be able to see that view forward, to reacclimate into the present instead of just always dealing with a traumatic past. We need to balance it with the life that we live today in reclaiming peace every step of the way of our healing process.
Well, thank you so much. And a quick question, if it's okay.
Go ahead.
Is it okay? Okay, the second quick question, I think it's quick, is so, it'll actually save money if we get rid of all this criminal activity. I hope President Trump, who likes to save money, will know that. But do you have any other? Pardon? Yes, but do you have any other like formula for the saving of the world? What you're saying is going to save us, and I know it'll generate more positivity in the world. But did you have any other okay, we all need to come together and do X? Any other things? Thank you. And I'll mute.
Oh, absolutely. We've got to start discerning truth and not following these self-appointed, self-anointed leaders that we didn't elect. There's so many global leaders that are imposing their globalist agenda on us. We need to stop complying I think everybody got a harsh taste of mind control, masked as a virus, 2020, and we need to evolve with the knowledge that's our defense against it going forward and never comply again. So, that's an important part that we all need to do, and it begins with awareness, being able to face the truth. And the truth is easy to face when you realize that we have the victory. The victory is within us all. And when we unite in light of the strength of spirit and the infinite power of love, it's game over. We win, and we can move forward and live life with the purpose and meaning that it's intended to have.
Well, thank you for your question. Next question, 716 area code. Come on in. You're with Cathy O'Brien. Hello.
Luda speaking. Cathy, over the decades, I've learned to live with the program, very much like you have. The same, similar philosophy, but I do have a life away from it, totally, and I don't let that interfere. I do have my own philosophy, my own goals, my own everything. The thing that has me most curious, since I've never heard of anybody who has ever talked with anybody in the highest government that you have, as the previous callers have mentioned, that you believe that President Trump is very much aware of our program. And what I'm most curious about, did he mention it specifically, number one? And number two, do you feel that just like everybody else on this planet can be mind controlled, do you also have any ability to believe that it could happen to him, or is he protected in some way?
Well, knowledge is our defense against mind control, and he's had that knowledge for a long time. Back in the in the mid-'80s, when I was under MK Ultra mind control, the perpetrators that I was around feared Trump back then. They feared him because he adamantly opposed MK Ultra mind control. He adamantly opposed drug and human trafficking across open borders. And they feared him because he couldn't be bought off. He had his own money. He couldn't be blackmailed. He couldn't be coerced. He couldn't be threatened. He had his own security. They couldn't do anything to him. They couldn't control him in any way. So if they couldn't do that back then, and he's reached this point now in leading the path forward and giving people back their power, I don't think there's any cause for concern on him being controlled. With that said, that doesn't mean the people around him aren't. It doesn't mean Congress isn't 100% totally corrupt. We have so much corruption, and one person standing in the middle of it, even with strength of spirit, it's going to take a lot. He can't do it for us. It's up to each and every one of us to do it for ourselves. It's our own journey to reclaim our free thought, free will, soul expression, strength of spirit, to be able to align with the divine within. When you understand that aspect of mind control and listen to what he says, see the actions, what he's been doing on stopping the child sex trafficking and the human trafficking, I don't know what more needs to be said or done to convince people of that. The only thing is that the controlled media is such a mouthpiece for the globalist agenda, for the deep state, whatever we want to call them, for these perpetrators, that they have been able to impose a psychological warfare on the global population. The Trump derangement syndrome is mind control, so he's got a lot that he's up against in that regard, but we're all up against it. And again, that puts it right back in our lap. It's up to us. He cannot do it himself. We have to do our part. It's it's all part of this evolutionary process that we're in.
But does anybody feel they're
Thank you,
strong
Luda.
enough to
We
fight
need to
the
go. We need to go to the next.
Okay.
Yes, but we need to go to the next question. Thank you, Luda. Okay, we're going to Dr. Black. Hello, how are you? Dr. Melissa Black, come on in.
Hi, DJ. Hi, Cathy. It's good to hear you talking about your new book. Congratulations.
Thank you.
My question, we're still in the middle of some MK Ultra programming, and it is definitely being satanically ritual abuse supported. Just in the last 6 months, I saw in my small town of about 3,000, we have a county airport. There was a fairly large-sized Learjet there. It was within 2 miles of the 3 schools that are called Global and International STEM programs. And that's all in one town. So they've got pre-K through 12. With that floating around here, can you think of any way that we can, I don't know, get attention from the government? Obviously, we're in the corrupt county.
Yeah. It's a quite a process we've all got to go through. Fortunately, the sheriffs are a saving grace. If you get a constitutional sheriff in, they could start making all the difference because they do not have to follow the federal intervention. You don't have to do what the FBI tells them to, and they're free to work for the people. So we need to be mindful of being able to get a good sheriff in position. That's a start. But ultimately, I'm seeing a huge movement across the nation of people helping people, where churches and communities, individuals are opening safe houses for the children who have been trafficked, the ones who have been so horrifically abused and mind controlled, and they're able to start effectively helping the children, number one, by giving them a safe environment to heal in, and then they can heal from there. But it's a good ways to go from the point where what you're talking about. But what is good to me is that this has been going on my whole life. It's what we're seeing isn't new. What's new is that we're finally seeing it. And after, I'm 68 years old now, and I've waited a lifetime for people to even see and recognize what's going on. So yay to you for recognizing it and seeing it. Awareness is the first step towards positive, necessary change. My book, Access Denied for Reasons of National Security, is like a roadmap of corruption, and shows us what we can avoid, what we can do, where the difference can be made, what Mark and I were able to do for my own daughter who was caught up in the Child Protective Services, so-called Child Protective Services, trying to free her from that criminal mess. And Transformation of America also shows where the roots of corruption are planted so we can avoid those. But ultimately, the corruption is running so deep, we need to step aside and start cleaning things up in our community ourselves. We can do something simple like go in the school system and put writing by hand back in those schools. Every one of those schools, if they write by hand, that activates the logic part of the brain. It's where information is processed. Writing by hand in the school system can stop the indoctrination of our children and teach them how to think again instead of them being programmed with what to think.
Thank you, Dr. Black.
Thank you.
Next question. Thank you, Dr. Black. Next question for Cathy O'Brien is right here, restricted. Hello, you're next. Come on in, restricted.
Hi, thanks. I just had to unmute my phone. Yeah, hi, Cathy. Thanks for taking the time to be with us tonight. I am most curious about the Trump thing. From this, I don't get my words very well like I once did, but so the way he tackled, so well, the immigration issue and the border, right? I mean, that was mission accomplished in nearly no time, right? And
yeah,
so with the information they have at hand regarding everything, which helped facilitate that to happen so quickly, and the manpower and the money and everything and the intelligence, they have all that at their fingertips regarding this program. And I just don't understand why. I'm not expecting it's going to be stopped like, in a month like that. But also, Trump's a money guy, right? And think about, I'm sure he's considered anything with organized crime that's on this big of a scale. Every time money changes hands in this country, from getting your paycheck to then, purchasing something, there's sales tax. I mean, just, the government gets a piece of it in the form of tax. So in this program, the amount of money that changes hands, and there's no taxes ever paid, right? And there's no gift cards ever taxed. There's just, so I'm thinking from the standpoint of maybe balancing the budget or revenue. I guess that's like a curiosity point of mine, that because I would be thinking that would get someone's attention that's interested in the deficit. But what do you think is, in your experience with everything in Washington and being around President Trump, if you had to just, pick maybe the top two things that would prevent him from tackling this as he tackled the border and all of that illegal activity?
Well, this globalist agenda has been in place since we imported the Nazi and fascist scientists into the U.S. in the wake of World War II through Project Paperclip. So this agenda has been sneaking in and going on a long, long time, this globalist slave society agenda. And to unravel this mess is going to take, all of us waking up to know what's going on. It can't be done for us. Everybody, everywhere is going to have to evolve out of this mess. So in that regard, I look at things like the Epstein files and everything, and how that like a thread that can be pulled to unravel the whole tapestry of this globalist agenda. We've got to get these self-appointed, self-anointed global leaders out of the way, the World Economic Forum and all those perpetrators, get them out of the way so that we can start cleaning up the mess and fixing the whole financial aspect. But the tangle of mess is so deeply rooted. It's going to take some brilliant doing and some orchestration that is beyond just government. It requires all of us to do our part and to understand, to stand strong, and stop buying into the perversion, diversion of the moment, or the violent diversion of the moment, and realize what's being done. It's like when we look at what was going on in Minnesota, the corruption was finally being exposed, and we were seeing such a possibility that we might see some justice. So the next day, all the media talks about is the ICE agent that, whatever the whole situation was. The point is the media diverted everybody away from the corruption. So, unraveling this mess is going to take us not buying into the media's repetitive narrative. It's going to take all of us to be able to think free beyond it, to see the magnitude of what is actually being done, and then do our part in the process.
Yeah, that repetitive messaging, that's part of brainwashing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And I couldn't agree with you more than on the spiritual note. It's been said for a long time, what we focus on is what grows. And I'm just catching myself more and more, the certain frequencies that run in my world 24/7, almost 6 days a week, that incapacitate me, and I just have to say, God, help me to keep breathing and choose to keep living. Anyway, but still, they want to take advantage of those very torturous moments and change who I am and how I think. So I have to make a decision ahead of time and decide, no, I'm going to, because I'm a Christian, and it's the truth in the Word of God is very different than the way the facts are going to look anywhere, right? The truth is going to trump the facts, and I just choose to, the best I can, to put that in front of me all the time. And of course, loving my Savior just opens up my heart. And I think the heart issue is a big thing too, right? So, yeah, so thank you. I don't know where does one buy your
answers. We need to move on to the next person, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Where do you buy the book at?
On Amazon.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Oh, I said I think you'll enjoy Align with the Divine.
Oh, okay, that's the name of the book. Okay, and where do you buy it? On Amazon?
On my website, trance-formation.com, TRANC-formation.com.
Okay, thank you, Cathy. Everybody have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question by Restricted. Hello, how are you? Welcome to Targeted West with Cathy O'Brien. How are you?
Hi, thank you very much. Cathy, congratulations on your book. And probably a lot of people on this call would be interested in the answer to this question. And it's about Trump. How do we know, Cathy, you mentioned that you were certain that he knows about this. And I'm just curious if you wouldn't mind addressing how you think he knows about this, because we're all suffering really terribly here. And it's hard to realize that somebody in the position that he's in, of course, you know, his campaign ran on government accountability. So it's hard to realize that more isn't being done. This technology is really gross. So would you mind if you could expound a little bit on how you think he might know that this is going on? Thank you.
Absolutely. It can't be unraveled as fast as we all need it to. And we've got to do our part. And the actions that he's already put forth, you know, show us that he knows. And fixing it is its own thing. You know, it's kind of like, you know, Kash Patel going in and cleaning up the FBI. You know, that's like, he said he was going to turn the FBI building in D.C. into a deep state museum, and I wish he would have just done that right from the get-go. You know, because I don't think he can clean up that mess. But that's kind of how I feel about everything. And to have one person, aware or not, standing in there to clean up the mess with the opposition of the magnitude, with the roots of corruption for generations, it's gonna take some time to clean it up. So, you know, it's so important that we all start relying on ourselves and not look to government to fix things for us. We've got to continue to move forward, keep raising our voices, keep raising awareness, because awareness is the first step towards positive, necessary change.
Thank you for your question, and we're going to be going to the next person now. And let's see, I think this is the last person in the queue, I hope. I hope I'm doing this right. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Restricted, you're next. Go ahead. Hello, Restricted. You're on with Cathy O'Brien on Targeted West. Last call for Restricted. No, I think that's about it. Thank you, Cathy O'Brien, for your interview with us. Interview, I like the play on that word. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
No problem. Thank you very much. Again, Cathy O'Brien. You can go to trance, TRANCE formation.com and check out her new books. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay. You can hang out if you want. We're going to switch back to mute mode and everybody will be able to talk. So if you'd like to hang out, that would be great. If not, that's okay too. And I'm going to turn off the recording. So please, if you're watching this or listening to a favorite platform, like, subscribe, and make a comment. And we'll be back next week. Thank you.